The RWBY cast went to the rally point as they talked to each other about their past lives. Ren and Nora have yet to be brought in the fold, maybe at a later time. Opting to show his wings to have all eyes on him, Jaune hoped that the target that should have been painted on Kira's back will be cast upon him alone. Not to show off, but to make himself as the greatest threat to Salem's plans. Then came the team formations as Ashvin announced. Ashvin, Team RWBY with their leader Ruby Rose. Jaune smiled, having them reunite after all that had happened. Ashvin, and lastly we have Team JNPR led by Jaune Arc. He walks forward and extends his wings for all to see, shocking the entire student body as this was the first winged faunus to be seen for their rarity. The Honest Yuma is the only bat-winged faunus I have seen in RWBY. The rest of Team NPR applaud their leader, while Kira smiled knowing this was the same outcome before. Ashvin and Glinda secretly looked at the two teams as they showed an abnormal amount of cooperation and skill that it not just rivaled the former Best Beacon team SDRQ but exceeded them. Ashvin made note to keep a close eye on the Angel for further planning. After all the hullabaloo, the teams now go to their rooms as Jaune was suspiciously chummy with Team RWBY by the views of the students. Moments later, Team RWBY dorm room after they set up. Jaune, so should we? Kira, it's up to you guys. Ren and Nora was sitting there together. Ren, aren't we gonna introduce ourselves? It seems like you six are already acquainted. Jaune, well, a 10,000 years worth of explanation later. Nora, Rennie, he's a literal immortal. Ren, this is a lot to process. Jaune, I think I lost that ability when I was revived. Ruby, how do you know? Jaune, I cut myself during training. Even with aura, it didn't rapidly heal. As soon as I got injured, it healed instantly. Now it doesn't. Weiss, it makes sense, but are you okay without it? Jaune, Weiss, I spent an eternity alone. I would rather die than live through that again. Weiss, I see. Sorry I brought it up. Blake, so you have seen a past version of yourself and tried to kill him? What in Elm's name possessed you to do that? Jaune, I thought if I wasn't around to hold you back, Kira might be alive and you guys could have wa. Slap. Everyone looks to Ruby, who had tears in her eyes. Ruby, you thought you were the reason we lost. 10,000 years you've had that dumb idea in your head. We lost because Ashvin thought it was a bad idea to share. We lost because Ironwood thought his army was enough to lead the invasion. It was our fault for thinking we were ready to fight their war that Ashvin wanted to spare us from. If you hadn't stepped up to lead, we would have been dead earlier. She hugged him, trying to calm down. Ruby, I thought we would be together when we died. But you had to suffer for a millennium. The rest joined in. Weiss, we died by our own choices, you doofus. Blake, and because the enemy was one step ahead of us. Yang, and our side couldn't look over our differences and work together. Kira joined as well. Kira, I made the dumb decision to fight the monster that killed Ashvin. I was way in over my head and it was too late to turn back and run. So, don't blame yourself. Jaune cried in their embrace. Yang, so, what's this about? Jaune, what? Weiss, you guys. Jaune, oh, we all got together. Weiss, so you moved on when I died first. That's good, I was afraid you would mope around for the rest of your life. So, who is the girl? Blake, right here. Yang. Yeah, I remember that. You two were such close reading buddies, especially when he revealed he made that smut that Ruby made a mistake reading. Weiss, hold on. You wrote Ninjas of Love. Jaune? Yeah. Ruby, I couldn't believe it myself. Blake, so who did you move on to when I died? Yang, that would be me. And believe me, we were so pent up. RWBY, I wished I was deaf when I keep hearing you going at it even before our meetings. Blake, damn, you are the horny one. Yang, you should have seen it. Weiss, believe me, we know how big he can get, so drop it. Yang, so did Rubes. RWBY, yep, we did it too after we lost you. We really needed to cope. Blake, all of us did. Kira, he took you all to bed. RWBY, oh, I guess you wouldn't know since you were the first one to go before the war. Ren, I still can't wrap my mind around that. War with the Queen of the Grimm? They have a leader? Nora, really, they just went spicy, and that's where your brain went, Rennie? Ren, Nora, that was why I was trying to change the subject. Nora, so did future US. John, oh, no spoilers for you too. Since Kira and RWBY had their memories return, I don't want to ruin your future by spoiling it you too, just be natural. Nora, oh. RWBY, so John, what's with the wings? John, I don't even know. It just came to me along with the visions. Blake, visions? John, I can't explain it. Even with 10,000 years of living, this is beyond my comprehension. He felt the thirst return, and he pulled out a blood packet and drank. Weiss, what is that? Nora, oh, I want a drink. Can I try? John, I would advise against it, Nora. This isn't a drink. Blake, is it medicine? John, not exactly. RWBY noticed the worry in his eyes as she sits straight and glares. RWBY, John, what is it? John looked at her, and he remembers that glare. It's what RWBY uses on him to get him to be more honest with her. She could read him like a book. John, She sharpens her glare, and his wolf falters. John, it's blood. Those close to him, what? John, ever since my revival, I am plagued with this thirst for blood, and it is only made worse with the visions, or more like nightmares of me, or someone I don't know dying to a giant armored man clad in black and holding a giant mace. Yang, Carden. John, please. When that happens, I fall into an extreme rage that makes me dangerous around others. I was managed to keep it under control with my knowledge and wisdom, but it's hard. For a time I searched for ways to quench my thirst, so far not so good. Weiss, maybe we can research it together. She felt horrible for John after everything he is still suffering as she puts her hand over his. Nora was yawning not because she was bored, but she was tired. When they looked out the window, it was already nighttime. John, well, let's get some rest. We have a lot of catching up to do before we ready ourselves for what's to come. Kira, I guess so, but don't you want to sleep together? They all looked at each other and decided no, for now maybe they can ask Ashvin to merge their rooms. So they went back to their respective rooms and prepare for a new day tomorrow.